And we are back. Welcome, guys. My name is DK, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down the first NBA DFS slate of the regular season. Two games. We got Knicks, Celtics, as well as Timberwolves and Lakers. I cannot describe how excited I am for the NBA regular season to be back. But if this is your first time watching, guys, I cover content for daily fantasy sports, NBA, NFL, as well as for player props, prize picks, underdog, straight betting, all that good stuff. The sponsor for today's video, that is going to be Underdog. If you guys are not on Underdog, I would highly recommend it. Already posted a ton of props over there on Underdog for tomorrow and Wednesday. You can use the code DKDFS or the link down below for a 100% match up to $250. But again, a ton of NBA props already posted for the next two games. And like I said, would highly recommend it. If you guys do click the link, or use my code as a first-time user. It does help support the channel, so greatly appreciate that. And if you guys are looking for more content for DFS or for prop betting, you can check out my premium linked in the description. All of my premium content is now over on OddShopper. It's been an insane last few months for both DFS and prop betting, and hoping that can continue into the NBA regular season. We dominated prop betting for the preseason, finished on a super strong note to end the preseason. And hoping we can keep it going. So with that all out of the way, let's just get right into the video. So we're going to start off here at the first game here. That's going to be the Knicks and the Celtics. Let's first kind of talk through where I think the rotations will be for both these teams. So for the Knicks, starting lineup's obviously going to be Brunson, Cat, Bridges, Josh Hart, and OG. Now there is no pressure to Chua. Landry Shamet also banged up and out. And then Mitchell Robinson also out. So my expectation for the Knicks rotation is going to be the starting five, plus McBride is going to be the guy that plays the most off the bench as the sixth man. You're going to see Cam Payne off the bench, and you're going to see Jericho Sims as kind of the backup big. I think that's going to be the 8-man rotation. I'm not even sure if they play a ninth guy, but we know Tom Thibodeau usually does run the starters into the ground, so kind of expecting that here. Looking at players and their price points, you got Brunson at the top at 8.7, Cat at the top at 7.8. I think both look really good here. These are my two favorite plays on the Knicks for sure. Cat at 7.8 just looks like a smash play here. I'm expecting big minutes for Cat. He's been dominating in the preseason. That's super high usage. And yeah, so I really like Karl-Anthony Towns here. Obviously, Jalen Brunson's probably going to play high 30s minutes or so. He looks really good as well. So the two main guys for the top of the Knicks look really good. I'm not as high on Mikal Bridges. He has changed his shot, and it does not look good. And if you guys have seen in the preseason or videos of him in practice, it just looks like he has like a hitch in a shot. It does not look great at all, and he's really been struggling with a shot in the preseason as well. Now, I do expect huge minutes from Mikal Bridges, but when you got Bridges at a similar price point to like Cat, like I'm just going to play Cat over him all day long. And I got Josh Hart at 5.6K. Who also they have said that he himself has said in multiple interviews that he is going to have a different role this year. He is not looking for a shot at all in the preseason. And I believe in the 4 preseason games that he's played, he has 2 points, I want to say. The first 3 games, I know he had 0 points. I think he had 1 bucket in the last preseason game. So he is not looking for a shot at all offensively. But he's going to play huge minutes, right? He's probably going to play 40-plus minutes, so he's safe for that reason, right? He can get peripheral stats, and get rebounds, and get assists, blocks, and steals, but he's really not going to be looking for a shot offensively. You got OG here at 5.3. I think is a reasonable option as well. Expect big minutes for him, assuming no foul trouble. So definitely like OG. It's going to be interesting to see what the ownership difference is here with Josh Hart versus OG. If they're coming in at similar ownership, I think it's basically a toss-up. But if like Josh Hart, for example, is going to be way more popular than OG, then in tournaments, I think we can definitely look to OG as a pivot. Now, if we're talking through the bench guys here for the Knicks, my preferred option is Miles McBride. I expect him to be the sixth man, and I expect him to be a pretty big part of this rotation. So I actually do like Miles McBride for value, good amount here at 3.6. And then you got Cam Payne at 4.2, Jericho Sims at 3.3. Both viable options, but again, if I'm targeting anyone off the bench, the guy that I feel the best about for sure is Miles McBride. All right, moving on to the Celtics. So Celtics, no Porzingis for, how long is he going to be out? I think he's going to be out for a little bit. But the starting five is obviously going to be Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. And then off the bench, you're definitely going to see Peyton Pritchard. You're definitely going to see Sam Hauser. you're definitely going to see Luke Cornett, right? That's going to be 8 for sure. 9th guy, maybe you do see a little bit of Xavier Tillman. But yeah, that's the 8 for sure that's going to be in the Celtics rotation. Now, looking at players and their price points, you got Tatum at 9K, Brown at 8-2. I think if I'm picking between the two spend-ups, I like Tatum. I just think he has a bit of a higher floor plus ceiling than Jaylen Brown. That doesn't mean you can't play Jaylen Brown over him. But at a similar price point, I'm going to give the edge to Tatum there. The two guards here, Derek White and Drew Holiday, I think are pretty similar plays. I do expect White will probably play a little bit more than Drew Holiday, but I think both are pretty good options here. Again, both are going to play good minutes. Would expect 30-plus minutes for both those guys for sure. And then Al Horford coming in at 5-2. I think is a relatively safe option. Again, no Kristaps Porzingis. He does look better playing the 5. I would expect Horford to probably play somewhere in the neighborhood of like high 20s to low 30s minutes. So he stands out as a pretty good value play there. Peyton Pritchard, someone that's made me a lot of money over the last couple of years, is going to be that, relatively high usage player off the bench. I think he's a fair play, but he's pretty close in price to Holiday and White, where like I just feel way better about the myth for Derek White and Drew Holiday. You got Sam Hauser at 4-4. Like, I would rather play Pritchard at a similar price point if I'm going to play one of these guys on the bench. And Luke Cornett, 3-9, I actually think is in play for value. Expect him to play the backup 5. Again, you're not going to see Al Horford come out and play like 35 minutes. I would be pretty surprised if he does, at least opening night. So I think Cornett will play decent minutes. He is a good point per minute player. So definitely have interest in him as a value play. And then the late game, we got Minnesota and we got the Lakers. So Minnesota, the starting 5 is going to be Conley, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. Off the bench, you're going to see DiVincenzo and Naz Reid be the kind of those two high usage players off the bench. You're going to see my boy NAW play off the bench. And then the 9th guy, they'll probably go to the vet and Joe Ingles. But would not be surprised if one of these young guys maybe cracks the rotation. I know Minot played well in the preseason. You got Dillingham and Shannon, maybe could crack the rotation. But I think early on, they'll probably lean on the vet and Joe Ingles from Minnesota. At least that's my expectation. Now, looking at players and the price points here from Minnesota, you got Ant at the top at 8-8 and Randall at 8K. I mean, definitely prefer Anthony Edwards to Julius Randle at a similar price point. The ceiling is the highest in Anthony Edwards of anyone on this team. Expect him to play, high 30s minutes on a nightly basis. So really like Ant there at the top. Randall at 8K is not out of play, but again, just give me Anthony Edwards over him or give me Rudy Gobert for less. I actually like Gobert here at 6-7. Randall's not the same player as Karl-Anthony Towns, so I think Gobert will have a little bit of better a year offensively. We know he's a good rebounder as long as he avoids foul trouble. Would expect good minutes from Gobert. So I think Gobert looks like a very safe player than the mid-range. Mike Conley is someone that I'm not as high on here. He has also stated in interviews that they are going to try to cut back on his minutes. And I think that the signing with DiVincenzo, with the trade of DiVincenzo, I think they're going to scale back on Conley minutes. So for me, give me DiVincenzo off the bench over Conley. One thing that I ran as a bet was all overs on DiVincenzo and then under on Mike Conley. A lot of the prop market was set as if Mike Conley had the same role as he did last year, which he does not. Again, DiVincenzo is going to eat into his role, and I think could definitely close games over Mike Conley. So not really on Conley. I do like DiVincenzo off the bench. McDaniels at 5-3, not really on him. But I do like my boy Naz Reid as well at 4-9. Again, Julius Randle's not the same player as Karl-Anthony Towns. I definitely think that Naz Reid could see a minutes increase this year. So I'm pretty high on the two high usage players off the bench. That's going to be DiVincenzo at 5-1, and that's going to be Naz Reid at 4-9. NAW will definitely be in the rotation at 4K, but for me, I'd rather get to Reid or DiVincenzo for a little bit more. And then maybe you see a little bit of Dusty Joe Ingles or one of these young guys off the bench, but I don't think it's enough for me to consider them. And finally, the Lakers. The Lakers, the starting 5 is going to be D'Lo, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui Hachimura, and Anthony Davis. Off the bench, you're going to see Max Christie. You're going to see Gabe Vincent. You're going to see Dalton Connect, and you're going to see Jackson Hayes as the backup 5. That's how I think the 9-man rotation will be. Could there be a 10th guy? Maybe. I mean, could you see a little bit of Bronny James out there for defensive purposes? Definitely possible. I mean, Bronny, not really there as an offensive player yet, but he actually is a solid defender. He could crack the rotation, play a little bit. I don't think you'd see anyone else. So, if there's going to be a 10th guy in the rotation, I actually think it would be Bronny James. But yeah, looking at the top end guys here for the Lakers, Anthony Davis at 9-4, LeBron at 8-9. I mean, gave me 80 over LeBron all day long. I really like Anthony Davis here. I think he's in a good spot. And yeah, I think the ceiling is much higher on him than it is LeBron at this point of LeBron's career. So for me, give me AD over LeBron. Not saying you can't play LeBron, but I would prefer AD at a similar price point. Mid-range options, D'Lo 6K, Reeves, D'Lo 6'2", Reeves 6K, Rui at 5K. I think all reasonable options. None of them really stand out to me, but they're all fair plays. They're filler options. I'm not going to prioritize any of these guys, but if they land in my lineup, totally fine. Bench unit here for the Lakers. Nothing that really stands out. I do think Dalton Connect is a good player and probably will have a bit of a bigger role as the season goes on. Maybe not as much early in the season. Christie, Gabe Vincent, I don't think plays enough. I mean, if Anthony Davis gets in foul trouble, this Lakers team is pretty thin. They don't have a lot of bigs. So if AD does get in foul trouble, Jackson Hayes could be an interesting option. But my expectation is you're going to see big minutes for AD, probably like in the high 30s or so. So Jackson Hayes, pretty tough to prioritize there, even at a cheap price point. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. As always, if you enjoyed, just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Really appreciate all the support. Good luck on the first NBA slate, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.